Bill Clinton was running for president of the United States, his election was attributed to the soccer mom. And once the soccer mom became sexy, then marketers started to say, wow, she's spending a lot of money in the United States. I quantified what the spending was of moms. It was $3.1 trillion. I was at Coca-Cola and somebody in the back of the room said, oh, but moms don't buy our products. And I looked at this young man and I said, how do you think the Gatorade got into the refrigerator? You know what I mean? Like, who do you think is taking your Coca-Cola into the house for the birthday party? Like the female in the house influences up to 60% of the purchases of technology in the home. They purchase 80% of the travel. They purchase 70%. They influence 70% of the vehicles, even if it's a truck for the husband. Moms, regardless of their generation, are joined together and behave similar by the age of their child.
As for your spouse, your most often used phrase.
Oh gosh, I can't say it. It's profane. No, I guess I love you.
Okay.
Get out of my closet.
Hello, fellows. Welcome to the next episode of Jagged with Just Ravi. Subscribe to my channel for conversations at the edge with thought leaders from the branding, marketing, and the business world. Conversations that ignite new ideas, ideas with rough and sharp edges. Hello, Maria. Great to have you on my show.
Oh, it's so nice to be here.
You have written so many books about the mom segment, and this itself is quite a realization that I'm not targeting women. I'm targeting moms. Yes, you have to market to them. You have to connect with them. It has to be authentic, empower them. They don't want to be just moms. It's the entire them. And then moving on to leveraging the mom influence,
Right.
which you are focusing on, which is a big, powerful tool, like mom as the co-creator, collaborator, not just the target. So how did that realization come? And if you could give a perspective of how big this segment is, you've talked about the segment, you've talked about many generations. So how would you, talk to the marketers that listen, wake up to this possibility?
So that's a whole hour show in that one question. So, you really hit it on the head when you said that a lot of companies and brands look at marketing to the woman, and that's exactly what was happening to me and my realization 25 years ago when I started looking at this segment. I was in corporate America working hard. I had 3 children under the age of 2, and everybody was talking about marketing to women, selling cars to women, doing this to women. And I took a step back and I said, you know what? Yeah, I'm a woman, but nobody is speaking to me as a mom. And you might say, or some brands might say, well, if we speak to her as a woman, then we kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone, right? But in reality, yes, I'm a woman and you're a woman, but if you're a mother, you don't ever take off that hat as a mom. There's always that lens that you're applying to everything that you purchase, whether it's your husband's soap or your family's snacks or, even things for yourself. You still think, okay, I really like that hotel and I want to stay at that hotel, but it wouldn't be practical because I would have to bring my children, right? So the marketing messages will get through to a woman, but if she also has children, she's always going to have that lens on, and she never takes it off, because you can take off your femininity, or, when I'm upstairs like I was last night, drilling holes in my cabinets because I wanted to update my cabinets, and I watch way too much TikTok, right? So I'm up there doing DIY. I'm acting like a man and I'm not thinking like a woman, right? I'm just drilling. But I always think I never take off the hat of being a mom. And so when I was immersed in actually I was in the car industry, which is very, very heavily populated with men. And I was like, nobody's talking to me like a woman, they're talking to me as a woman, but not of a mom. I started to dig deeper and say, well, what's different about that? And I came up with a couple of motivators that I can speak to as what motivates a mom to purchase product is sometimes different than how a woman would think about buying a product. So I threw myself into like talking to people, and I wrote my first book on it. And believe me, I wrote the first book called Marketing to Moms in 1999. That's how far back it, right? And I could not get anyone to hire me. They were like, "Oh, we're already marketing." I went to Coca-Cola. I was at Coca-Cola, and somebody in the back of the room said, "Oh, but moms don't buy our products." And I looked at this young man and I said, "How do you think the Gatorade got into the refrigerator?" You know what I mean? Like, who do you think is taking your Coca-Cola into the house for the birthday party? Like, it's not the dad, I assure you, right? And I heard later that that young man was no longer working for Coca-Cola. But you know, moms buy everything. So finally people started clicking. And you know what really turned the tables for me was when Bill Clinton was running for president of the United States. His election was attributed to the soccer mom who voted him into office. And once the soccer mom became sexy and politically powerful, then marketers started to say, wow, she's spending a lot of money in the United States. And at the time that I quantified what the spending was of moms, it was $3.1 trillion. And today in the United States, it has risen to $4.3 trillion.
So they say that she is the CFO of the house.
Yes.
85% of purchase decisions she is
Right.
taking. So it's coming into the house through her, and she's approving it. She's the gatekeeper. But and you talked about cars also. Any completely unimaginable categories where mother is
So
focus.
So I have to tell you about this funny meeting I was in. I was in a meeting and I was asking for funding for my company in the early days. And I was in a meeting. There was 12 men sitting around a board table, and they listened to very politely listened to my presentation on the power of moms. And I looked at them before I ended and I said, "Can I ask everyone a personal question? Can you raise your hand if you bought your own deodorant, or did your wife buy it?" And all the men kind of looked at each other, and not one of them, they started laughing. Not one of them had purchased their own deodorant. I wound up walking away with a lot of funding that day because they were like, wow, you're right. She really does buy everything. But when you look at technology, even technology, the female in the house influences up to 60% of the purchases of technology in the home. They purchase 80% of the travel. They purchase 70%. They influence 70% of the vehicles, even if it's a truck for the husband. They still influence that purchase. So the buying power of a woman with children is extremely, extremely powerful.
Okay, this is getting really interesting. By the way, I'm also a mom.
Yeah, good, good.
Okay, Maria, before you touched upon this, I think you talk about five motivations of a mother, and we
Mhm.
will get into that because that lens is never off. Like you beautifully said, you never take it off. It does not go
Yeah.
off with the clothes or the makeup or where you are. It's here. It's here.
Mhm.
It's in
Right.
your spirit. I just like to highlight a point that uh, I mean, we're talking about the size of moms segment. So India, largest population, and as per 2023 estimates by United Nations, 16.1 births per thousand. You know how you've noticed Asia, if at all, is different from United States.
You know what's interesting? When you invited me to join you today, I wasn't surprised that you had an interest in talking about marketing to moms because, I get my Google alerts from around the world on stories and marketing and initiatives that are happening. And out of every place in the world, I get more Google alerts from India, from brands who companies who have maybe done a campaign for moms, or brands who are recreating a product for mothers. And I have to actually commend the innovation of the Indian companies who I think are really starting to see the power of women. And as more women are, I'm not going to say entering the workplace, because I feel like women no longer is it stay-at-home mom and working mom. It's kind of integrated now because women can earn income in a whole bunch of different ways. So whenever anyone says, well, we want to go after working moms and or stay-at-home moms, I'm like, what century were you born in? Because that does not exist anymore. Um, so anyways, I would just like to say that I think that the India economy is starting to appreciate the value just from what I see on Google, a survey of one, but more so than any other place in the world. So kudos to you. Um, so it is I don't, what's interesting is I would have said it was a trend 10 years ago, but it's really interesting now with the whole world of, it started with mommy bloggers, and then it was mom influencers, and now it's creators and influencers and ambassadors and all these other words. And in the US, they really have tended to drop the word mom in front of it. And it doesn't surprise me that moms were early adopters to all of that because, and I'm sure we'll talk about it in a minute, but one of those motivators that you were referring to is sharing. And women with children innately share. They share stories, they share pictures of their kids, they share trials and tribulations. And so the reason why the mommy blogger was ever born was because there were women literally in their laundry rooms doing wash, who were lonely. And you know how it is, right after you have a child, you feel alone, you feel confused, and there was this technology where she could post her feelings, and somebody across the globe could say, gosh, I'm sitting here and I feel the exact same way. And suddenly there was this just network of friendship everywhere, right? It's becoming more mainstream to appreciate the value of moms. I almost now think that we need to get back to a place where we're segmenting our messages and targeting who we're speaking to, because I almost think now with the world of influencers and social media that there's so many branches throwing their messages out there, right? And seeing whatever sticks, that we need to take a step back, and we need to be a little bit like AI and Google is right now, where they're saying, okay, what is the most relevant message that I can send to a mom? And what is the most relevant message I can send to a new college student, or the most relevant message I can send to a teenager? Because I think we've lost a little bit about that, a little bit of that with the whole influencer world.
Yes, how to be relevant. And from there, I think this aspect, that which generation of mom are you talking to, will
Right.
emerge. And we'll also look at the spectrum of, how old the child is, and there's so many
Yes.
factors there.
Yes.
So, okay, what are the three considerations, most important considerations, which a marketer should have in mind before deciding to go for a mom influencer? And I also want to know, there are many innovative, formats for many turnkey programs, as you call them, that you have used. So I would like to know if there are any use case scenarios in case a marketer is thinking, how do I integrate this? For example, a Nestle, or a company which is already pretty evolved, global, and knows, yes, I have to wear the mom hat. So, in your turnkey programs, you've talked about, I saw there were mommy parties, there were
Yes.
social spotters, there
Mhm.
are ambassador programs, and then, of course, video content for Amazon,
Right.
kind
Right.
of things. So, like you said, that mommy bloggers, it started as a very intense need of the mom. She needs
Mhm.
this, and moms, connect. I mean, like I joke, Mariam, me and my mother-in-law, our, our connection happened after my son happened,
Uh-huh.
because, then the complexity of the relationship goes. It's like,
Right.
you're. So if that can happen, I mean, anything can happen, right?
Yeah, right.
So I've put lots of ABC in these questions. Basically, if you're wearing the marketer's hat, and you want to give them a quick way to decide what kind of a format I should go for to collaborate with the mom, and what are the use case scenarios of these moms,
Okay.
and what considerations should I keep? Should I even go for something like this?
So the very first thing I would say is, be very clear on what your goal is. Is it just to gain awareness of your product? Is it to get moms to try it? Is it to, are you working at the bottom of the funnel and you need to convert people to sales? And so once you figure out that, those, one of those, where are you in your sales process? Then you can decide on which format or which tactic to use. So let me just touch on a couple those three spots, and give you a little background. So if it's the awareness, right, and you're just launching a product, you have everything at the bottom of your funnel, but you just need awareness. Certainly, mom influencers are a good place to start. Currently, with what is happening with AI and long language models and search, I would encourage, I try to get my influencers to work as hard as possible. Okay. Now, not to mean that they are physically working, but in my selection of influencers, I can make good selection of influencers that will give me more of a return on my investment. And let me give you an example. So right now, Google has started indexing social media um, posts. I don't know if that's happened in India, but it just last week started happening in the United States. So now, which it's great because now if I pay an influencer to talk about my product and I coach her properly on using my keywords in the first two lines of the social post, it could end up on Google, which is great. It comes out of the closed environment of Instagram and now could be available, by someone Googling and searching for it. In addition to that, though, with AI and LLM, you need to be more conversational, right? So I look for influencers that not only have are not only on Instagram, but also might have a blog, who are also creating Pinterest content, and who also might have a YouTube channel. So when I engage with her, I can hit two or three different types of content with her that give me exposure in a lot of different ways. So keep that in mind. The worst way you could work with an influencer, in my mind, is to say, okay, I need the influencer that has the biggest number of followers, and I'm just going to have her do a product review on my product, and that's it. Because number of influencers is rat poisoning. If you follow that rat poisoning, it is the wrong way. You need to look at her engagement, because if you look at someone like Kim Kardashian, who has 15 million followers, but yet she's only following 500, that's not a relationship. She has no relationship with her followers, right? If you look at someone who has 100,000 followers and she is following 50,000 followers, okay, she has a relationship. It's a back and forth, coexistence. So I look at the engagement rate. I look at the comments of people that are following her. Do they like her? Are they commenting? Are they interested? Are they sincerely interested in what she's talking about? So influencers. Then let's say that you want to drive sales, and you just launched into a retail location. I use something like social spotters. Now, what is social spotters? It's actually a technique and a program that we created where we send influencers into a retail location. They will post a video about how they've discovered the product in the aisle. It's really good because when someone is scrolling, they're able to see where the product is located in the store, okay? And particularly if it's a new product, you might want, her followers to know, where in the store it is, because, sometimes it's hard to identify where a new product
You
is.
used it for a brand. If you could also name like the company you used it
Oh,
for.
sure. So
Yeah.
I've used it for Nestle. I've used it for, I use it for a lot of toy companies like Little Tikes, LOL dolls, Brat dolls. We use it a lot for toys. Because, sometimes it's on the girl aisle, sometimes it's on the boy aisle, you never know. Bamba, I think you have Bamba, which is like a Cheeto chip, peanut butter. It's and that particular food product is located for some reason in our stores on the baby aisle, because it's meant to introduce children to peanut butter, but yet most teenagers eat it. So in that case, it's very important for us to show what aisle it's on. So the influencer or content creator will, create content. Oh, wow, look at what I just found in the freezer section. It's new. She will purchase the product, take it home, and then show a lifestyle video of how she enjoyed it. What I love about this tactic is it shows the entire journey of purchasing, right? So the discovery, the purchase, and then the home use. And then if you are at the bottom of the funnel and you need conversion, right? You just need conversion. Then I tend to look at what we call the social selling and the social commerce creators, right? Those are the women who are doing Instagram lives and they have affiliate links to Amazon, or they're on TikTok shop and they're saying, oh, this is the best sweater I ever had, right? Because those people, their business model is not sponsorship fees. Their business model is in your best interest. Their business model is affiliate commissions and converting. So you can align the tactic with your goals. And you mentioned mommy parties. That's good for trials, because what we will do, like we did this with Disney, we again did this with Nestle. We will get a mom to host a play date in her house, And we send her enough samples for all the moms to try when they're all together, and they get to talk about it and taste it, and then they go on their way, and hopefully they'll stop at the store on the way home and purchase a larger pack to take home.
What would be the key metrics? You've already talked about the metrics that are important and what is the marketing goal, in which case you should use which. You also have ambassador programs. How do you
Right.
structure them? Because, is it like household panels or a certain customized panel for a certain category and consumer segment?
It is. So our panels, so we do them in a couple of different ways. Our ambassadors, will take a brand. So let's just say LOL Dolls because they're a global brand. LOL and Bratz, we had a panel for them. And we'll have maybe, well, some of our panels, like for Disney, are 3,000 moms. And we will create a private Facebook group where these moms will talk about things about the product. And the cool thing about it is not only are they super fans of the brand, but like in the case of HP, the innovation team at HP actually uses those ambassadors in that private Facebook group to ask questions. Like just last night, I was looking at some of the questions in the group, and the HP engineers were asking the moms, do you ever print, homework assignments on your printer, which of course they were saying yes, for your children, or worksheets and that kind of thing. And how often do you do it? And so the engineers were actually asking the moms. And so it's like real time insights and innovation that can happen, as well as the marketing benefits of those ambassadors.
Yeah, I mean, so many early insights you can get for innovation, co-creation, concepts, communication check, soft launch, product reactions, and I mean, it can be so effective. Okay,
Yeah.
so earlier, Maria, you were talking about relevance for moms. Like in your book, you've talked about how you often compare baby boomer moms to millennial moms to Gen X moms. Now, a marketer has to shift approach when they're talking to Gen Z moms as compared to millennial moms. Now, I'm giving
Uh-huh.
you a scenario and how should they look at it, to keep in mind brand expectations, purchase metrics, media habits, or just the value
Yeah.
system. What kind of a shift happens when the generation changes?
So remember you were talking about your mother-in-law? So I have two daughter-in-laws. Can you imagine me being their mother-in-law? Like I've studied so they're both youngest millennials. They're right at the very bottom of the millennial. I could tell you in my sleep how a millennial acts, right? Can you imagine being my daughter-in-law? Like I was, one of my daughter-in-laws was with her friends, and they were all talking about buying strollers because one of them was pregnant. And I just sat back and I listened to the conversation for a little while, and I just looked at both of them and I'm like, you guys are just behaving exactly like a millennial, just like a millennial. I said, you do realize that, the next thing you're going to do is, you're going to go online and you're going to read 5 reviews before you purchase the product. And then you're going to do this and that. And they both looked at me and they were like, okay, that's scary that you know exactly how we're going to behave. And I'm like, yeah, it's a very dangerous thing when your mother-in-law studies human behaviors, right? So, but back to your question on, I think what you were getting at was if there are currently three generations of moms, okay? And I'm going to put the boomers out here because they're grandmas, okay? Except for me, I'm a spoiler. But so how do you market to three distinct generations that have three distinct behaviors and three distinct characteristics and not get lost in all the different relevant messages. Well, the good news is two things. All the generations of moms are linked together by those five motivators that we have been alluding to, which we should probably touch on soon. But also, moms, regardless of their generation, are joined together and behave similar by the age of their child. And what this means is if you have a millennial that has a 2-year-old, she will behave like a Gen Z mom who also has a 2-year-old. So the behaviors of a mom are linked. Someone once asked me, do you market to the age of the mother or the age of the child? You market to the age of the child because her behaviors are linked together because they're doing the same things, purchasing the same products, even if they're in a different generation. So the good news is if you are like, let's say in you're a baby company or you're dealing with a prenatal brand, you don't really have to say, okay, how do I talk to the millennial mom and how do I talk to the Gen Z mom? You can speak to the prenatal characteristics, okay? But if you are, so if you need to talk to all moms, then you can lean into these five characteristics. And would you mind if I go through them really quickly? Okay. So there are five motivators that all generations of moms and all purchases are, this is what motivates her to purchase. She's motivated by sharing. She shares photos with her in-laws. She shares deals that she finds with other moms. She was a mommy blogger. She shares experiences, right? She is motivated by solutions, okay? So most of the time, if a mom is going to go to search and Google for something, she doesn't Google thermometer for a fever. She Googles how to take my baby's temperature. So she Googles the problem, and then your product comes up as the solution. So she's motivated and she purchases solutions that she needs in her life. She's motivated by raising happy, healthy children. Okay, so that's a key motivator. She is motivated by archiving the journey of motherhood. That's why photos and baby books and all of those things are so appealing to her, scrapbooking, you know. So she's motivated by archiving. She's also motivated by creating by friendly competition. Okay. So what is friendly competition? Friendly competition is when you go on Pinterest and you see a mother did a bluey birthday party, right? And she maybe did party favors and balloons and a cake. And then the next mom did party favors, cake, balloons, and a backdrop. And then the next mother does, you know, like every mother does one up, one up, one up, one up. That's friendly competition. Now, those five motivators, how do you you can utilize them in your marketing. So, for instance, let's talk about solutions. Moms create these ecosystems of solutions, right? So, if she's very, very busy, have you ever heard of like a mom, maybe the husband or her partner comes home for work at the end of the day and says, "Hey honey, I'm home. How was your day?" And the first thing she says is, "Oh my gosh, I got nothing done off of my list. It was just not productive." That's because we are motivated also by the sense of accomplishment. We like to cross things off of our list, right? So if you give moms a way to incorporate your product into her ecosystem of accomplishment, she will be motivated to purchase it. So for instance, if you have a can of soup, right? And instead of just selling, hey, this is good for you, it has 10 vitamins, whatever, it tastes great and you're going to love it. If you instead sell it to her like, you can buy this can of soup, and here are the 5 things that you can do with it this week. You can take it to work with you and heat it in the microwave. You can put it together with some chicken and make a great casserole. You can, you know, and it has 5 ways for her to insert it into her busy schedule and into her ecosystem. She's going to purchase it. She's going to be motivated to purchase it. If you, if you offer her a solution that's going to make her look good, like she's got her act together, um, she's going to be motivated to purchase your product, right? But instead, we as marketers, we make the mistake of saying, oh, this is a bottle of Dasani water. It tastes good. It's refreshing. It has no calories. We talk about the features of it rather than the true benefits that it offers a mom. So, going back to your original question, if you design your marketing to touch on one of those key 5 motivators, and better yet, if there's 2 or 3 in them, then it doesn't really matter what generation she's in because it's going to resonate with her as a mother.
As you were talking about the ecosystem of solutions and in a way how it fits a lifestyle or makes a life easy, I think maybe there the generational difference can come. That okay,
Right.
the
Yes.
manifestation of it, because life might be a little different or the
Right.
priorities might be a little different. But lovely, lovely, really, really.
Thanks.
Okay. So you wrote this book, 202 Facts of Millennial Moms. A couple of them that really hit me, but I'm going to talk about that later. I first want to know if you had to pick 2 insights that marketers have found most enduring.
In the United States, women go grocery shopping on Sundays. And one of the things that I talk about, one of the facts in the book you're referring to, is that I give ideas on how to leverage that. And I think a lot of marketers will say to me, wow, like I never thought to market to her when she's on Sundays at the grocery store. The other thing that a lot of marketers will tell me about is that most moms are in their car from 4 o'clock in the afternoon until about 6:30 because they're taking a child to, well, I was going to say soccer, but football for you guys, to football, and or they're going to study hall, or they're going to all the after school activities, and I am always so surprised that they're in their cars listening to the radio, and nobody ever markets dinner ideas at that hour. I'm like, why wouldn't you? Like, that's all she's worried about is, oh my gosh, I got to get home and feed the kids, and I have no idea what I'm cooking for dinner. That would be the perfect time if I was a marketer to be on the car radio saying, hey, stop and pick up your $10 pizza or your $10 rice dish or whatever. And I've had a lot of people say to me, that was really smart. I never thought of that. And so I think marketing food are some of the aha moments, because there's some industries that just haven't changed in 100 years, and the grocery industry is one of them.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Maria, I was working on the brand Britannia. Britannia
Mhm.
and
Yes,
the Laughing Cow have
yes, yes,
come together.
yeah,
And the core insight was, and I was feeling, oh my God, what's new about this insight? That the mother needs interesting ideas for food to make food interesting for the child. The,
right,
the only difference was that, okay, cheese can be an enabler, like India
right,
is not, I mean, it's not native,
right,
to Indian culture. Butter is, ghee is,
yeah,
but not cheese. So, that's
right,
the other thing that has shifted is that, okay, creativity in food is
right,
big, for women and,
mhm,
and and their expression and how much they feel for it. So amazing. And you've also talked about women are culture shapers, not coupon clippers. Is there
Right.
a case study you want to talk about where you discovered and what shift the marketer had to be recommended? This or any other case where you felt that the power of the mother as a culture shaper. Because my next question is going to be about Gen Alpha. Uh,
Oh. I really think with the emergence of social media, some of what I used to call urban behaviors, like all moms did it, but we didn't realize everybody else was doing it. But now that social media exists, we now know that everyone does it. In the past, before social media, you would be at the playground and you would tell five moms, like, oh, you know what? I decided to take my kids to Disney before they're two because they're free. And now all the moms do it, right? Because one tells one and one tells the other. But now it's on social media. So now it feels like a cultural thing or a mainstream idea because now we go online into a Facebook group, and instead of telling 10 moms at the park, it could happen overnight where 100,000 people in a Facebook group could hear about it at one time.
yes, so the speed of making culture
Yes, right, right, right,
is the virality
right,
of
exactly.
buzz. Yeah, yeah. So you're talking about, okay, so you're talking about AI and how
Right.
that's gonna shift. I mean, that's gonna be like a big disruptor. Gen Z we've been talking about is the culture disruptor. So there's just disruption from every angle. It's
Yeah.
like the world is going to be unrecognizable, or it's not going to make sense from the lens we are looking at right now. Maybe we'll need a new lens. So educate us on this, Maria. How is AI, going to change mom marketing? And what do you think, any early insights on Gen Alpha? Because they are
Oh,
going to be the center stage generation when AI is going to be fully blown. Like they say, okay, every few months AI is changing the things. But yes, we'll see the full, impact when this generation is there. So how are they being brought up? What is the culture that
so
they are being?
so I'm going to talk about that AI, like how AI is going to change marketing for moms. And, I was thinking about this the other day because I'm even trying to learn it now. I wonder, and I think that it will eventually, building AI agents will become so mainstream that I could see moms having an agent for their grocery list, having an agent for the size of their kids' clothes, or having an agent for managing the back to school supplies. And then if you have an AI agent making those buying decisions or placing those orders online for you, what happens to the incremental purchases that mom makes, when she's shopping on Amazon? Or what happens when your marketing message, you've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on reviews on Amazon, but yet they're not being read anymore because the mom's not reading them. The agent maybe is making the selection, or marketers are going to have to be smarter about being in her conversations and helping her build those ecosystems before the time that she engages with the agent to make those purchases, or to, you know, like I could see a mom, you know, I say 5 years from now, but I bet you it's three, where all she does is she tells Alexa, I've uploaded the kids' school supply list, have it all sent to the house in a backpack, and it arrives in a backpack, and she's not going into the store to pick out the color of the backpack or all of that. And so how do you get your marketing messages to her? I also think, and I'm very, very entrenched in this right now, that search is changing so quickly that marketers are going to have to be really, like, I have a client right now who called me yesterday and said, listen, I don't know what my competitor is doing, but when you look at the AI search and you search for something, all of these blogs come up that recommend him. And I need mommy bloggers to be blogging about me. And so, I've written a few articles, they're on LinkedIn right now, that are called, the rebirth of the mommy blogger, because now suddenly where marketers just forgot all about that mommy blogger over there from the year 2000, they're going, yeah, I'm ready to write again, because that's the only way that these brands are going to show up in search. So yeah, I think that AI, if you think that it's just about putting in a question in Chat GPT, that you're way at the end of the train right now. So, even if it's just watching TikTok videos on AI to get yourself up to speed real quick, sometimes I just lay in bed and just watch TikTok videos just to learn as fast as I can, because it's changing so fast and it's going to change the way we market to moms. So that's that. That's the A, and the B is the alpha, right? Oh, you got a C
Yes.
already?
No, no. This is a, yeah, corollary to A only. So you
Oh,
said
okay.
that, like you said, before the purchase is going to be delegated to the agent, there has to be enough of affinity for your brand in her
Mhm.
mind, enough of a preference in her mind. So while you're doing awareness, it's not just awareness. That there's the engagement quality has to go many, many notches higher.
Yes. There
Yes.
has to be a loyalty, and
Mm.
loyalty is not something that we've talked about in a long time. We haven't talked about loyalty marketing since the Gen Xers, right?
Yes.
We kind of forgotten about that when it came to millennials, because suddenly we had influencers and social media and we're like, oh, that's the silver bullet, right? As marketers, we're always looking for that silver bullet.
Yes.
And we left the ambassadors and the loyalty marketing way back in Gen X. And it's time to rethink that a little bit,
Oh my
because,
God.
you know, um, because you're right, they are going to have to, there is going to have to be a level of loyalty before it gets to the level to the agent making the buying decision.
Because you can't influence them during that phase, because earlier it was
Right.
like there's no clear consumer journey. It can go from any point to any point. You're learning while you're searching you might buy, but that's going to
Mhm.
be different. Now there is another
Yeah.
person that is going to do the last phase of the consumer journey.
Okay.
Wow. As
Before
we,
we run out of time, let me just tell
yes,
you a little bit about the alphas, okay?
yes,
You can always predict what I shouldn't say always, but in my 20, 30 years of experience, um, I have been able to predict what the next generation consumer behaviors will be by looking at how they are parenting, how they are parented, the socioeconomic influences of that generation, and then the economic influences of that generation, and the emergence of technology. So those four things, if you look at it, you can pretty much sense what will happen with that generation. So, for instance, it doesn't surprise us that the Gen Z population is more frugal minded than their predecessors, because they lived through economic times where they watched their parents going through 2005 and inflation and that kind of thing. They also, fewer Gen Z are going to college in the United States. I don't know about India, but here in the US, few are going to college and they're looking at trades. And And that's because they've watched their older siblings and they've watched their parents have to pay off college loans. And they're questioning, is it really worth it? Because I see how my life is and I see how my parents' life is. And, they've carried this burden and I don't want to carry that burden. So when you look at alpha, you can look at the things that are happening to them in their childhood and who is raising them. So the alphas are being raised by the Gen Xers, right? And the very oldest millennials. And if you look at their characteristics, the Gen Xer, more than 50% of them were raised in divorced households. There's somewhat a sense of insecurity, and they tend to be a little bit more not controlling, but they manage their different environments. And so, you can look at the effects of that will have on their children. So, well, their children are likely to proceed in a very cautionary way, right? And then you look at the application of all the technology where we're all questioning, is that real or is that AI? So when you look at those two factors alone and you look at the alpha, I could probably predict that they are going to be a consumer that's going to do a lot of digging into a product before they actually make the purchase. They're going to want to know, like, is it real? Is it really going to do what it says? Is it worth my investment? Because they're already being raised in that kind of like question everything, make the right decisions kind of environment. So you can look at those four things: the technology, the influence of technology, the financial situation of the world, socioeconomics. The Gen Z was really impacted by COVID. And that's why the Gen Zs really like in-person events, and you find that they like to actually get together with their friends in person because they crave that in person. And then the way that they are parenting, so parented. Oh,
So this is rapid fire. Mother's best advice.
let your children follow their passion.
Alternate profession could have been.
A doctor.
What would you do on Mars for fun?
Play tennis.
As per your spouse, your most often used phrase.
Oh gosh, I can't say it. It's profane. No, no. I guess I love you.
Okay.
Get out of my closet.
Okay. One thing no one knows about you.
That I listen to gospel music in my car.
Okay. A book you'd like to gift to all your friends cannot be your own.
Energy vampire.
Okay. What would you tell your 18-year-old self?
Oh my gosh. Don't date that guy named Joe.
Wisdom. Okay. What's something new happening in your life right now?
Well, I have a grandchild on the way that no one knows is on the way yet.
Oh, okay. Only on Jagged with Just Ravi for the
Yeah.
first time. What's your
Yeah, so you guys don't send any emails from India.
What's your favorite childhood memory?
Eating popcorn.
Okay. If you were to devote the rest of your life to philanthropy, what cause would you choose?
Infertility in women.
What is your greatest joy?
Oh, my children.
How would you like strangers to remember you?
As being loyal.
What's a lesson that took you a long time to learn?
My greatest lesson has been having an African grandchild. So there's so many lessons in that. I've learned how to walk in someone else's shoes. That's a different race.
What's your jagged edge?
I don't know, but I would think my biggest contribution is I have a passion for empowering women.
Hmm.
So I know that's
Needed,
not
needed.
jagged, but
It is, it is. Okay. What's next?
I'm actually working on my PhD. So when I said I wanted to be a doctor, sometimes the universe brings you what you want in a different form. And I think, maybe I wasn't a physician, but I will become a doctor in a different way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Could we know the topic? I mean,
Yeah, I'm getting my doctorate in business administration with an emphasis in marketing.
super.
So
Now, if you could share with our guests if they wanted to reach out to you, which is the
sure.
best way.
Yeah, so you can always find me at on LinkedIn, Maria Bailey, but also you can go to mariabailey.com and I'm there. It has all my information and all my books, and I'm always happy to answer questions, or if you have an idea and you want to know if I think it'll work, I'm happy to I again, I like to empower women and people, so I'm happy to answer questions.
Superb. Do you want to say something about the book that's about to come? Because you're going to come again and talk about it on Jagat
Okay.
Ravi.
Okay.
But for
Maybe next
now,
time,
what is
or
it you
next time I'll come in person. How about that?
Yay!
No, it's coming out in January and it's going to be focused on the Gen Z mom, but there's so many changes going on that that's why I had to figure out a creative way to bring in the AI and all of the things that are coming with that, because I didn't want to write two books. I just wanted to write one. So it'll be out in January, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, me too.
This is a great place to find, the most innovative conversation that I've had about marketing in a very long time. So like, share, and join in on the conversation on a regular basis.
Yay! What a find you are, Mario.
Oh, good.
I'm
Well, thank
telling
you.
you, this is amazing.
Thanks.
Thank you so much
Thank you.
for coming over my show, and it was just wonderful. It's like a start. I just feel like
Oh,
this is like a start of a conversation.
oh, good. Good. Well, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you.